Welcome to Working Progress. This is the podcast where we dive into strategies for success and journey towards progress. So, what does it really mean to build a people-first team? And how can leaders create strong, high-performing teams while still honoring the individuals who make them work? Today, we're exploring how leaders can build teams that are not only productive, but resilient, engaged, and ready for the future. We're joined by Amy Lafko, who brings deep insight into how behaviors, motivation, and talent shape the way teams communicate, collaborate, and perform. Their work helps leaders go beyond job titles and resumes to truly understand the people behind the roles. In this episode, we'll talk about what makes the right team, how assessments and data can strengthen trust and accountability, how to uncover hidden potential inside your organization, and the mindset shift leaders need to lead people-first teams into the future. So let's get started. Amy, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to share some ideas with you. Thank you.
Of course. Well, can you just start by maybe sharing a little bit of your background with us?
Absolutely. And as your intro focused on people first,
Yes.
That's actually the name of my book is People First. Mm-hmm. And it's a proven method for an exceptional healthcare practice, but it's universal. And so what I love is this idea of how do we move beyond customer first, patient first, really to that idea of putting our people first, including ourselves. You know, as leaders, as founders or owners, we're people too.
Yes.
And so it's really about how do we make sure the people are thriving so that then the rest of the business can thrive as well.
Yeah, I love it. And when is the book coming out?
Oh, actually, it just had its 4th birthday.
Well, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And it's had quite a 4th birthday. It's been a big year for the book. And, you know, and I love having people say, I really appreciate this idea of people first. And, you know, to people like us in the industry, it doesn't feel like such a new or interesting or unusual concept.
Yeah.
But when you've been out in the business world and always been focused on, oh my gosh, it's about my customer, or in healthcare, it's about the patient, then this idea of people first actually is pretty revolutionary.
Yeah. So let's build on that a little bit. So when we talk about people first team building, what does that really mean? And how is it different from those traditional approaches?
I think what we need to look at is how do I build a team that they not only fit into the role I need, but that they're actually going to be able to thrive in that role. Because the goal of people first is moving beyond just retaining people. I mean, that's, you know, like chattel. And why do we want that? So when it comes to retaining, that's entry, that's table stakes. We actually want our team to be engaged and empowered to do their best work. And when are people empowered? It's when their natural talents are being utilized. When what motivates them most in life is what work is giving them.
Yeah.
And so that's why this idea of people first is starting by understanding who your team is, what behaviors, what motivators, what soft skills and acumen is going to really make that role sing. And then helping to find the people that align most clearly with that. So it's frictionless.
I love that. Frictionless teams.
Yes,
too.
Frictionless teams. Because I always say that you actually can fit a square peg into a round hole. It's just, do I want to use a vegetable peeler to peel off a little bit of the edge, or do I need to take a hatchet to it? And quite frankly, if you try to fit a square peg into a round hole where you need a hatchet, it's no fun for anybody.
It doesn't sound fun either. So why are teams such a critical focus right now, especially with the economic and workforce challenges that leaders are facing today?
You know, that's really interesting from the standpoint of, depending on the industry, you're facing different challenges.
Of course.
In healthcare, in that segment of my business, there are so many vacancies because people are leaving healthcare in droves. So for them, it's not only it's finding a person, let alone the person. And then with some of the other industry segments I work with, they're getting 900 applicants per role.
Wow.
And so depending on your segment of population, you're in a very different situation.
Yes.
Is it a desert or am I drowning in options? But regardless of what it is, I only want to hire that right person.
Yes.
I just don't want to hire the person. So I always want to be smart about selection, and I always want to be smart about engaging my team, whether I have 500 candidates or 5, whether I have 20 people in the pipeline or 1.
Okay. So beyond the skills and experience, then, what actually makes it the right fit or the right team?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really exciting for a company to really ask itself that question.
Okay.
And of course, we talk a lot about behaviors.
Yes.
But where I love to start is with how the organization motivates you.
Okay.
Because I have found for some of my clients, that is the biggest driver of success.
Okay.
I worked with one group where their organization motivated and was motivating to people who loved proven methods, traditional ways of doing things, a really solid structure. And it turned out they would go to hire these great candidates who would come in with all these new ideas and exciting things that they wanted to try. And then they'd get shut down.
Yep.
And they couldn't understand why people were leaving.
Yeah.
So we just needed to honor the fact that they are a structured, highly traditional business and bring in people who love that and want to thrive in tradition, thrive in structure. And so that's where the motivators become so important.
Very important. Because again, we know that they impel your behaviors into action.
Exactly. Yes.
So where do leaders most often get the team composition wrong then?
Great question. I think it starts with, do I actually know what I need?
Okay.
Meaning even within the role itself. So I love to really start by having us look at, what are the key success factors for this role? What are the key behaviors and motivators? And I'm always fascinated when, in fact, I just did a session with someone the other day, and 2 out of the 3 people, the subject matter experts, had decided that this person needed a really strong sense of urgency.
Oh.
And the other person said, that's the least important factor. Now you can imagine the conversation we then got to have.
Yes, very much so.
And it turned out the way they were thinking about the role was very different, which now means they're going to hire someone with confusion.
Yes.
And that means the person's going to come on board confused.
Which isn't a good way to
It's not a good idea. No, definitely not. Not helpful.
So how did that conversation go then? Because you have 2 people that are looking at one way and somebody else is saying, no, we've got to have that strong sense of urgency. It also, when we're doing any type of job benchmarking, I think for the organization and the leaders or the managers or the top performers, you really start to go, oh, well, wait a minute, maybe the role's not aligned.
Yes, exactly.
And we need to really define that to avoid some of that chaos and confusion.
Yes. And fortunately, with this client, we had already done key accountabilities. We had already gotten clear. So then I said, show me in the responsibilities and show me in the success factors where urgency is required. Interestingly, the person who said no urgency was right.
Oh.
We couldn't find it in the key accountabilities and success factors.
Wow.
So I said, okay, but what drove you to that question or that idea of urgency? And they're like, well, everybody should just always feel urgent.
Interesting.
Can you tell what their styles were?
Of course. A lot of red.
Yes, exactly.
So really, how does understanding the behavior, the motivators, and the talent change the way the team works together then?
Absolutely. And this is where it really gets fun, is when you can help a team understand who they are so they can know themselves and control themselves. And then they can understand who's on their team to really understand what's going to work well and what's not, and how can I better meet that person where we are.
Yep.
I always say, I don't want you to be false, not be who you are, but let's flex and bend a little.
Yeah.
Let's work to the middle. And, I had one client who said to me, Amy, I finally know who I can do a drive-by to their desk. And I said, I don't even know what that means. And he goes, I can just walk up to them and be like, hey, I need something. And he said, and then there's this one person on our team who, if I do that, flips them out for the rest of the day.
Yep. Shuts them down.
Yes. So I send them an email and say, can I stop by your desk in half an hour? And he's like, and all of a sudden we have this great conversation.
Yes.
Simple shifts, but making massive impact on how the team functions.
Yes.
And then how fun it feels to come to work.
It's having that common language.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Where when you do a team session, it is a lot of fun because you have a lot of those aha moments and they go, oh, that's why that person shuts down.
Yeah.
Because when I do approach them with that drive-by shooting and I get this blank stare,
yes,
then we're both confused and it doesn't work well. So what role can the assessments and data play in strengthening the communication, the trust, and the accountability without labeling people? Because as you know, certain behavioral styles get labeled certain ways.
Absolutely.
So how do we avoid some of that?
So I always start by saying DISC is not a weapon and it is not an excuse.
Okay.
Because I am 100I. And so when I work with my accounting firm client, who is mostly high compliance, if I went in with my high I flag flying, we would get nowhere.
No.
So I can't say to them, well, too bad, that's who I am. So your DISC is not an excuse, but it's also not a weapon. It's not to say you can or can't do something because of it.
Yeah.
The whole point behind it is how can we shorten the cycle of understanding when it comes to this team? And one of my clients, after a half-day workshop, he said, Amy, we did in 4 hours what would normally take 6 months of getting to know you because they had just added a new division. And we took all 8 people that were going to start up that new division, put them in a room, got them clear on who they were, universal common language. And by the end, they were like, oh, it would have taken us 6 months to figure each other out.
Yeah.
And we would have still only been guessing. And now we don't have to.
And how rewarding is that type of feedback for you then?
It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes. So how does a people first approach to hiring and team building shift during times of, economic uncertainty then? You bring people together, you build this team, they understand each other, but times change.
Yeah.
How can they work through that?
So I think one of the most important things is that we keep the universal language alive.
Yep.
I really stress with my clients that this is not something that you learn about and then go put on a shelf.
Yeah.
This is not a flavor of the week. This is not, fun learning Cosmo quiz. Now it's going to go in a drawer.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I do is every time I'm talking with a leader or a team member in an organization, to reinforce that, the first thing I do is pull up their profile.
Okay.
And we share screen. And I'm like, tell me what's going on. And then we talk about it relative to their profile to help people remember that. I love it when teams will have their team wheel posted somewhere or out and ready. One of my clients, they're old school like me, and they have a folder for each of their team members because they're all virtual. Okay. So before each call, they open up their folder and in it is their profile.
Wow.
It's their 3 communication do's. It's their 3 communication don'ts. And before that call, they prep.
Okay.
So that's how we make it living. That's how we keep it useful.
Yes.
So that no matter what we're going through, we actually have that basic foundational understanding of each other.
I love that because it's also one of those things that, like you said, you're a high I. You're going to work with a high C client where we're not saying, no, just don't be who you are.
Yes.
But we're saying, go meet somebody where they are. And then I bet you can go in and be your high I to several people, but it's about building that trust.
Yes.
But if you don't have that common language and the do's and don'ts for communication are
those
fantastic.
Pages are phenomenal.
Yes.
And I think, that's part of what sets this assessment apart.
Yes.
Because it's such clear language and it's such easy things for people to grab onto.
Yes.
And it just feels so resonant that it's easy to understand, which is going to make it easier to live and use all the time.
Well, and also if it's a team that has been working together already,
Mm-hmm.
those communication do's and especially the don'ts, it'll trigger specific things and
Yes.
go, oh, that's right. During that situation, I actually saw you break down.
Yes.
Why didn't you tell me that?
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice that the assessments just give it to you.
Yes.
You don't have to come up with the verbiage on your own. It helps.
Exactly. And that is key. Even the value to the organization page.
Love that one. Yes.
So I work with an organization where we help with their promotion panels.
Okay.
And so many people have a hard time at annual performance reviews
Yep.
or when they're asked, what are some of your strengths? They struggle with that. So we turn that value to the organization statement into a story.
Okay.
And now they've got this beautiful collection of all the incredible work they've done for the organization.
Okay.
And it resonates with them. It feels real to them.
Yeah.
But they had an easier time coming up with it.
Yes. That's, again, one of the beautiful things about the assessment.
Exactly.
So why do organizations, speaking of values to the organization and promoting internally, so why do organizations often overlook that internal talent? Or what are some of the benefits of developing or repositioning existing team members instead of continually bringing new people in?
Well, you talked about it already when you said with this economic climate.
Yes.
There is such a cost to turnover. There is such a cost to vacancies. And so one of the beautiful things is you might have someone who's underperforming in a role, but that's simply because once we realize what their behavioral preferences are, or what their skill set is, the soft skills, not just the technical skills, we can say, oh, actually, you're going to fit better over here.
Yes.
And so we can help align people in the organization if they're quality people that match our core values.
Yep.
Then it's simply helping them find the slot that they're going to be most comfortable in. And so from an economics standpoint, it is more beneficial to move people up in-house or to create the culture where we promote from within, because now you're going to be attracting people who want to stay for longer term.
Yes. Like you said, focus on the value to the organization. And let's make sure that we have the right people in the right seats. It's really important. You're also not bringing a new person in where they have to learn the entire, new systems, new rules, all the things. You have somebody who's been there.
Yes.
So it is beneficial in some cases to keep the people and just move them.
Yes, absolutely.
So how can some leaders uncover hidden strengths and future potential within their teams then?
I think the most valuable method is to start by simply asking.
Okay.
One of the things when we use the soft skills assessment and those soft skill competencies is it's interesting to me that a lot of time that's the first time someone's asked, beyond your technical skills, what are you bringing to the table? Or what do you want to develop? We benchmark for new positions,
Of course.
but we also can benchmark so that if someone's looking for their career path, that we say, okay, these are the top 7 you need as an individual performer.
Yep.
And now to move into that first level of leadership, here's what you need.
Okay.
And then the other way that I use it, is I talk about building a career rock wall instead of a career ladder.
Oh.
Because a lot of organizations only have a few rungs on their promotion ladder.
Very true.
But a rock wall can have endless opportunities for growth and movement.
Yes.
And so what we do is we use that soft skills DNA as what handhold do you want to build on your career rock wall? And now I've got, okay, these are the 3 soft skills I want to build. And now I'm going to put those handholds together.
I love that rock wall because there are a lot of small businesses. I'm sure that you work with several small businesses where, like you say, you get to a certain spot and there's not many places to go.
Exactly.
So I love the rock wall. You are developing new roles for the people within.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's allowing them to develop skill set without having to say the only way you can grow is with a new title.
Okay.
And you talked about it. I mean, I actually work with organizations that have a couple hundred employees, but there's still only 3 rungs before you get to CEO, founder.
Oh, wow.
So it's still that there's not a lot of rungs on that career ladder.
Okay. Well, last question, Amy. What is one mindset shift that leaders need to make to truly lead people first teams into the future?
Get curious.
Okay.
Get curious about who your people are at their core.
Okay.
Get curious about what it is that motivates and drives them.
Okay.
Get curious about how you can best support them. And use that same level of curiosity for yourself.
Okay.
You've got to stay motivated in these challenging economic times as well. Get really curious about how you can do that.
I love it. Be curious.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that wraps up today's episode of Working Progress. A big thank you to you, Amy, for sharing your insight on how leaders can build people-first teams that drive performance, engagement, and long-term success. If you found today's episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or share the episode with a colleague or fellow leader. Your support helps us continue to bring these meaningful conversations to life. And remember, great teams are not built by accident. They're built by leaders who understand their people, invest in their potential, and create environments where trust, clarity, and collaboration can thrive. As always, thanks for listening. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep making progress. Take care, everyone.